This is exactly how I made $5,000 in 5 days as a 21-year-old, but I almost lost all of it in one day. Now, let me back up a little. I do this thing called Tech UGC, which stands for User Generated Content. And essentially what you do with Tech UGC is you make videos for a brand about their app or their product, and then you post them on dedicated TikTok and Instagram pages. And brands pay you a monthly retainer, so anywhere from $500 to a couple $1,000s a month, plus they pay you extra for view bonuses. So you can make as little as $500 a month, or you can make upwards of $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month. Now, usually UGC is extremely easy. It takes a couple hours a day. You're able to make really good money, but here is where things get tricky. I had 5 days before I left on a 2-week vacation to Europe, and I was not going to be able to film any content while I was there. So how do you actually go about making this UGC content? Day one of my week is always the same. So I always like to start days where I have to film. I like to start by just planning everything out. I love to do everything in blocks because I feel like it makes it flow quite a bit better. You're not task switching all the time. You're not changing your focus. You're able to just focus on research, focus on scripting, and then focus on filming, and then you knock it out back to back to back. Whether I'm planning for 3 days in the future or 2 entire weeks, day number 1 is always going to be my researching / scripting day. And the research for this is extremely simple. See, Tech UGC's purpose is to blend into the algorithm. You're making content that feels very TikTok and Instagram native. You don't want it to come across as an ad. So essentially what I do is I professionally doom scroll and find videos that I want to recreate and just put them in a Google Doc. Now, researching for 2 entire weeks worth of content is pretty unusual, but the process does not change. I find 1 to 2 videos for every single day that I'm going to be gone, depending on the brand, and I throw them into this Google Doc. So at this point, everything was running smooth. It was day number 1, and I had pretty much everything I was going to do for the week planned out, which brings me to day number 2, which was one of my 2 filming days for the week. These Tech UGC videos are very, very simple to film. All I do is I have my laptop up with the video I want to recreate, and I film with my phone on my desk. See, a lot of people getting into UGC ask all the wrong questions when it comes to filming. They're so caught up with questions like, what camera gear do I need to get? Do I need to get a microphone? Do I need to get fancy lighting, etc.? All these questions that do not matter because equipment is essentially useless. If you have a window and an iPhone, you have all the same equipment that I did to make $10,000 a month with UGC. Now, UGC is very simple and easy, so my filming day does not take up a lot of my time. But I started running into these issues on day number 2 where I was getting caught up with all these other things that I had to do. Like, it was finals week for me. I had to pack up everything and move across the country while also packing for this Europe trip that I had. And on top of that, I had to film 2 entire weeks worth of content because day to day UGC does not eat up much time, but doing 2 weeks of content in 5 days is a little rough. So it was starting to take a toll on me. And I managed to get everything I needed to on day 2 done, but I did feel myself slipping. Now, after I get done filming all these videos, I send them off to an editor. And editing for Tech UGC is very simple. If you haven't caught on by now, the whole point is that it's supposed to stay simple. You don't need to make fancy edits or else you're not going to blend into the algorithm. And it is a very simple process. So editing yourself in the beginning is extremely easy. But when you're doing UGC, you are essentially running your own content business and you are every single part of the business. You're doing the outreach, you're doing the scripting, you're doing the filming, the editing, the posting, you're doing all of it. And it can quickly get out of control. So when you can outsource things like editing, it helps you scale a little bit faster and keep these systems in place. But even if you have the most perfect systems in place, something still can go wrong. And on day 3, it did go wrong. Instagram decided to remove one of my posts and they don't ever really tell you why. So I've been on the phone trying to figure that out. I've had quite a day. It is 7:50 p.m. and I've yet to film my first video. I got caught up for like 4 hours doing a whole bunch of like organization stuff. I had a bunch of stuff going wrong with one of my accounts. So I had to figure that out. At this point, I had almost 7 days worth of content that I still needed to film, and the entire day was practically gone. So at this point, I really was unsure whether or not I'd be able to finish everything before I left for Europe, and ultimately could not make any content for 2 entire weeks. And see, while I had all the right systems in place, one of the hardest things about doing UGC or running any sort of online business is that you are your only boss. I work at home by myself all day. I don't have anybody breathing down my neck, making sure that I get things done. I don't have a boss. I don't have anybody to be accountable for other than myself. And in these situations, every little distraction adds up and ultimately pulls lots of time away from you without you ever even realizing it. And this is something I really don't see other creators talk about, even though it happens to everybody. But I had over a week's worth of content stare me in the face, and if I did not finish this, I risked getting dropped from all these campaigns that I rely on month to month to give me my income. But after I was finally done crashing out, I grinded for the next 2 days, researching and filming everything that I needed to finally be done with my content for the week. So in total, over those 5 days, I filmed about $3,000 worth of content. But as I mentioned earlier, you get bonuses based on the views you get. So while I was in Barcelona, I had someone posting these videos for me, and about a week after posting, I had made over $5,000 in total
photo from all these videos while sitting in a hotel room in Barcelona with my girlfriend. See, UGC really can give you freedom that you could have never thought of before. I was able to afford a trip to Europe for my girlfriend and I and make money every single day that I was there. But the freedom that you get is not automatic. You have to build the right systems in place, because the second you start relying on motivation, you end up exactly where I was on day 3. But if I learned anything over those 5 days, it is that no matter how successful you are, there is always something that you can improve upon. See, I make over $10,000 a month as a UGC creator, and even my own systems fail me sometimes. But it also showed me that you do not have to be perfect. You don't have to have the perfect systems in place, because sometimes it ultimately does just come down to getting the work done and pushing through, no matter how many beautiful, perfect systems that you try to have in place. But I have countless other stories, so if you want to hear about the time that I made $7,000 from just one video, or the first time that I made $10,000 in a month, hit subscribe. Thank you.